What is up, my peepholes? This is your guy, Kalai, and welcome back to Budget Buys. Today, I want to talk to you about the Vankyo MatrixPad S7 Android tablet. A short time ago, Vankyo reached out to me and asked if I wanted to check out their latest Android tablet, and I gladly took them up on the offer. As such, I should go ahead and point out that this tablet has been provided free of charge by Vankyo, but they are not sponsoring this video. Everything I'm going to be telling you is my own opinion and has not been influenced in any way. With the disclaimers out of the way, let's go ahead and crack this box open and see what's inside. Of course, this unboxing is a little bit of a dramatization because I've already opened this and have been using it for the better part of a month. I've decided to break the illusion a little bit, mainly because this is not what the tablet's going to look like when it arrives. Instead of just sitting in the admittedly very nicely designed padded box, it will also be wrapped in this plastic bag and have a little quick start guide attached to the screen. And speaking of things attached to the screen, I'm going to go ahead and point out that this tablet comes with a screen protector pre-installed, which is awesome. Typically, when you remove these little quick start guides, you're left with a bare screen and you have to find a protector all on your own. So this little guy is already starting off with bonus points. Now, underneath the tablet, what you have is the user manual, an additional quick start guide, as well as a micro USB cable for both charging and transferring data. And while those accessories are all well and good, what you're actually here for is the tablet itself. So let me go ahead and rattle off some specs at you. This is a 7-inch Android tablet running Android 9 Pie. It has a 1024 by 600 IPS display, 32 gigabytes of onboard memory, though it can be expanded with up to a 128 gigabyte micro SD card, 2 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM, a Mali T820 GPU, a quad-core Cortex A7 1.3 GHz CPU, 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 4.2, a GPS for offline or Wi-Fi navigation, a 2-megapixel front-facing camera and a 5-megapixel rear-facing camera, and even an FM radio. As for the layout of this tablet, on the front you have the microphone located on the bottom left-hand corner, as well as the front-facing camera on the top right-hand corner. Now, while there isn't anything on the left-hand side or the bottom of the tablet, on the right-hand side you're going to find a reset button, the power button, as well as the volume rocker. On the top of the tablet, you're going to find the headphone jack, the micro USB port, and underneath this protective flap, you'll find the micro SD card. Finally, on the back, you have the rear-facing camera as well as the speaker grill. Now, I know some of you are probably wondering about the audio quality you can expect out of the S7, and for that, I've set up a little demonstration. Now, I don't know if this is going to transfer over in the video well or not, but based on what I was hearing, the Wiko ride was a bit bassier than the MatrixPad, but that's not necessarily a good thing, because in the case of the MatrixPad, it wasn't tinny. Instead, it had a bit more nuance to the audio, and that means that if you're listening to music that isn't as bass heavy as the metal I played here, you're going to be able to pick up on a lot more. Undoubtedly, one of the primary things people are going to be using a tablet like this for would have to be streaming services. And while it has performed perfectly on Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime Video, I'm going to go ahead and say the one I've been spending the most time with recently has to be Tubi. For those of you who don't know what Tubi is, it is a free ad-supported streaming service that is actually not that aggressive with ads. I tried out a few others previously, and I swear the runtime on one of the movies I was watching was increased by a good 30 minutes thanks to all of the ads they shoved in there. Another reason I'm using Tubi for this part of the video is simply because they have public domain movies like the original Night of the Living Dead. Yes, the original Night of the Living Dead is indeed in the public domain and has been so since the day it was released, thanks to the fact that they forgot to apply copyright attribution to the film itself. That's why you see it in all of those horror film multi-packs. In fact, most if not all of the movies in those packs are on Tubi. So now you don't have to drop $30 for 50 movies unless you want a physical copy. But of course, an old black and white movie is not going to give you a good idea on what kind of video quality you can get out of this thing, so I present to you a collection of 1080p, very vibrant test clip. And I'll go ahead and turn off my recording lights so they don't interfere. Now, when it comes to gaming on the MatrixPad S7, it's actually a very competent device. As you've probably already expected, this tablet has had zero issue running the standard casual gaming fare such as solitaire, Sudoku, and even hidden object games, which I'm gonna go ahead and admit are a guilty pleasure of mine. However, for the sake of this video, I decided to tax the system a little bit and play a few 3D games. And I'm pleased to announce that I've had zero issue running games like Carmageddon and even Dead Effect 2. Not only did I have no noticeable slowdown when I got to even the more graphically intense parts, but I didn't even notice a buildup of heat in the tablet, which I should point out I have had to deal with on other devices in the past. They can get a little toasty, though most surprisingly is the fact that the on-screen controls were incredibly comfortable to use. I tend to hate those things, and if I can, I much prefer using a Bluetooth game controller. And while I have gotten a decent amount of playtime on both of those games, the one that I've really been sinking a good chunk of time into would have to be The Quest by Redshift. This game is a grid-based first-person dungeon crawling RPG, which just so happens to be a favorite genre of mine. Think of this like the old Eye of the Beholder games, but with an open world. Though I will admit the main reason I've been spending so much time with this game lately is because it is a remaster of a game that I used to play all the time back in the day on my old Pocket PC. Now, if only Redshift would remaster another of their games in this genre, Legacy. I spent just about as much time with that one back on my old Pocket PC, and I even play it from time to time on this Palm Pilot that I found while thrifting. Sadly, they are on record saying that they're not going to be remastering Legacy for modern hardware, but if you happen to know where to find a Palm OS 5 emulator for Android, you're good to go. One of the other main things I've been using this tablet for is text. Not only have I been reading the occasional novel on it, but by far the biggest text-based benefit of this tablet, in my eyes, is that I can load it up with digital editions of whatever RPG manuals I need. This way, not only do I have to not worry about carrying around a huge bag filled with books that may end up getting damaged either in transit or during the session, but this is especially useful when you want to break out a game that's been out of print since the 90s. Now, while it is true that the maximum video resolution on the MatrixPad S7 is 720p, it does have a feature that I've noticed is missing from a lot of sub-$100 Android devices, and that's autofocus. One of the devices that I've been playing around with recently is a $40 Android phone, and while it does claim to record at 1080p, it does so using a fixed focus camera and I suspect a fair degree of interpolation, which is basically upscaling a smaller image with a few tweaks here and there. If you're wondering about this audio, it's being recorded using the built-in microphone on the MatrixPad S7. Now, let's swap cameras. And I bet you thought I was going to be focusing on my face for this part, but not quite. I'm not going to be doing a face reveal just yet. The main thing I wanted to show you was the maximum resolution of the front-facing camera, which in this case is 480p, which makes sense given the reduced resolution of the front-facing camera. All in all, I think the MatrixPad S7 is a pretty dang decent device. Yes, some people might be put off by the fact that it doesn't have 5 GHz Wi-Fi, nor does it record 1080p video, but that's pretty much par for the course in the sub $100 Android device market. However, those other devices also typically have only about 8 to 16 gigabytes of onboard storage and around 1 gigabyte of RAM. So I'm willing to make that trade-off. And I'll have you know, I use this tablet pretty much daily, even when I'm doing my wind down at night, especially due to the fact that modern versions of Android include an eye comfort setting, so it doesn't even keep me awake at night. If I've sparked your interest in the MatrixPad S7, you can pick it up on Amazon for around $75. I'm going to go ahead and include an affiliate link down in the description below. And on that note, this is your guy, Kalai, signing off.